Ah, classic mistake. Right, start again. Hi guys, Dave from 3DP&Me. This time with audio, hopefully. We're gonna pick up where we left off. Last time we were putting together the last bits of the Z. We attached the top motor and cleaned up a few other bits. Then we're going to move on to building the electronics table today. But first up, we're going to attach some of the little hand wheels. Yeah, and that's about it. So we're going to get started. Hopefully the 3D printer in the background isn't too loud. I'm printing up some Vaughan Trident bits for Jake to try and help get him back up and running. As is always the way, when you need it most, your printer dies on you. So I've got a few bits running in the background for him. Yeah, cool. So first things first, we've got some heat set inserts to do for both the hand wheels and the feet for the electronics build. Although I'm quite liking my all black sort of stealth Milo, so I may perfect, good to know you can't hear the printer. So I may not actually install these yet, so I might save myself a few inserts by just not popping them in yet if I decide to reprint these in black. Sorry Jake, you provided me lovely blue parts and I'm rejecting them. Right. So let's lift this bad boy off and make some space to work on some of the other bits. Right. Swap to the top-down view. There we go. So these need some M3 inserts, just in here. And today, for once, I know exactly where they are. I believe these parts also need an insert. I'm actually, so these are the little handles that go with the hand wheels. My plan is to actually not use these if I can get away with it. I don't really want them spinning around and hitting me in the hand, whereas this spinning around without anything on it, it shouldn't be a problem, and it should give me enough extra sort of torque to move it nicely by hand without having to grab a lead screw. So that's what I'm hoping for anyway. So I'm not going to add anything for the little handles yet. I'm just going to go with this part. So let's get our lead screw in. How are people doing anyway? Looks like I just joined a PowerPoint presentation. You are not a fan of the top-down view, Jake? I can give you the proper PowerPoint presentation view if you want. He says. There we go. There you go. Hi, my name is Dave. I will be your Millennium Mill lecturer today. We'll be covering how not to tap extrusions. How's things going for you anyway, Jake? You had a few days rest, I hope. Work not too crazy over the bank holiday weekend for you. Hey, Nine Mar. It's good to see everyone dropping in. So on the last stream, I did mention that I was planning on doing the blind hole mod on the Z. But I've actually decided, for the sake of science and because I'm lazy, that that I'm going to drop down to. Am I back? Hopefully it's a bit smoother. I've put it on for super fast, so quality might suffer a little bit more than the video, but hopefully the frame rate will be up. Good. So apparently on my computer, hardware acceleration, not a good thing. Right, I was saying, for science and because of laziness, last time we spoke I was going to do the blind joint Z mod, but I'm going to leave that off for now. I'm going to find a way to actually test the stiffness of the setup with the FMJ mod and no blind joints, and then I will go back and add the blind joints in later and see if I can get a measurable difference in stiffness. Plus Jake is already doing the blind joint mod with the FMJs, so we should get an immediate comparison before I even tear it down. And the main reason of my laziness was because I didn't have sharp enough drills, so I couldn't do it at the time before I assembled the Z, and I didn't want to go back and do it because I'm lazy. But I will do it eventually. And this was my test piece, also known as Tap of Shame. Right. Okay, last insert on here. Sorry, I forgot to check how your weekend was going, Jake. It's been mental, so tired. I bet there's been a lot of kids on holiday with their family. Hey, hey. Hello, Sync. I don't think I've seen you around before. Welcome. Right, hand wheels ready. I did forget to check the CAD for these. Do I put an insert in now? Nah, I'm just gonna go with it. I am gonna do the feet though, just in case. I think it'll be a while before I get around to reprinting for the full black stealth mod. Let's just quickly hop to Fusion and see what size inserts I need in these feet. No inserts. M5. Cool, thank you, Jake. Oh. Right. Okay, let's get rid of that. Can you see how dusty my keyboard is? Everything, this was wiped down before the last stream. Every single thing in this house is immediately dusty. Every time I get a room plastered, it is weeks of this dust afterwards. Right, M5. That's it. Jake, are you doing a complete V0.2 upgrade, or are you just doing some of the features? I can't decide whether I want to go all in yet. Yes. I probably did remove the fastness from the model. I need to fix that model, to be honest. Every time I load it, it says there's an issue with the Raspberry Pi model that's not even in the model. But that's Fusion for you. Right. Magic. You're doing a magic mix of the two. Which features are you bringing in and which are you dropping? this is we're on about the V0.2 upgrade. We both own LD. Well, I own an LDO V0.1 and Jake owns, is it a Formbot 0.1? This morning I took mine partially apart to install some to swap to the new Z end stop. The original one is at the top, and you've got like this minuscule 0.1mm region of error to get the trigger point for your Z and the nozzle not to hit, and then as soon as you level your bed it messes up and you've got to go through the cycle of getting it all perfect. And they've thankfully moved the Z end stop to the bottom, so now it homes to the bottom, and all you've got to tweak is the virtual offset for your Z lip offset in Clipper, and it is so much easier. So much more happy using that printer again after so long getting annoyed with that. I think a lot of that annoyance is because I've been spoiled with my V-Core 3, which, you know, just levels the bed, homes and does all bed mesh, all of it automatically. I don't have to deal with any of it anymore. So I think that's ruined me for manual leveling printers for the future. Oh, good. I'm glad it's not just me, Jake. I'm not really sure what the solution is. I don't get that on every model. And I also can't find any reference to the Pi to remove it. That's all. Nearly sent all of the inserts flying. Well, that was hard on my fingers. I went bouldering at Stanage the other day. Yesterday, and I'm a bit sore. Super wide ankle. Right, let's try and attach these little wheels. So I have some M3 grub screws, which I think were for this. So you're going for your own remix on the skirts. You're keeping the motion system the same as V0.1. Also using a V0.1 style top hat for the V0.2. Also going to go clicky. Oh, I've had going clicky on my list of things to do on the V0 for ages. I worked with JLAS, or I think it's JLAS? Anyway, I worked with the chap on getting clicky ported to V-Core 3. And at the same time we were discussing designs for the V0. And I just never got round to it. It was just one of those things. I also need to put the Pandora mod. I don't know what the Pandora mod is. To be honest, I've been so out of the loop with the V0. My focus has been on getting a Millennium Mill up and running. And I recently overhauled the V-Core 3. And I'm building a second V-Core 3 for the hack space that I go to in Sheffield. So I've just not given my V0 much love recently. But that being said, I have just received a box of goodies from Big Tree Tech. So I think I will, when I properly update that build, I've got a Nevermore Micro that's already printed and ready to go in the bottom of it. I've got a can hot end board just to reduce that wiring loom that drags along the top surface. And I've got so in there at the moment I've got a Manta M4 one, the 4-driver one, M4P. But Big Tree Tech have sent me the E3 EZ, so you know, with the new EZ drivers, to play with. So I'm going to be installing that, along with the CAN board, the electronics area cooling fan. I've also got a chamber temperature sensor, and the CAN board for the hot end. So it's going to be good. When are we going to see stick a print head on Milo? I am not sticking a print head on Milo. Although, to be fair, it would be really cool to see someone get around to doing like additive subtractive manufacturing, where you print a few layers, machine a few layers, repeat. That would be sick. But software just isn't there yet. I've not seen any freely available software that offers that. Right. Back to screwing this in. That's what I was doing. Teensy tiny. Right. Things are a little bit dark from that angle, aren't they? Oops. I'm really tempted to add a quick removal print head on mine. Yeah, I mean, you've got plenty of space. If you're not bothered about your like, if you can reduce your Y, your X, sorry, you could easily put one on the side, or just on the side of the thing. Or even if you're being really fancy, you could drop one in the spindle itself. Just put a little spindle lock on so it doesn't get twisted up in itself, and you'd be good to go. Extra throughput for parts. Yeah, I mean, I think you're going to struggle to get ABS done nicely on it. But PLA maybe. Yeah, so the V0 is my ideal printer until I started building Milo, which requires almost entirely larger parts. And thankfully you came to the rescue and printed those for me. Because my large printer now lives at the office and has a full-time job, so it doesn't get out to play on tinkering on things very often at the moment. Right. Ah, yeah, that's nice. Right, so it feels like I'm going to be able to twist it just fine by hand without the little handle, so I am going to stick to that original plan of just dropping the little handle. I prefer not to be getting whacked by those things. I would like to be able to leave these on full time, so that's good. Get in there. Yep. Well, what comes around goes around, eh? I'm sure mine will be down soon enough, soon as I'm planning that rebuild. And you know full well the timing will perfectly align with some ridiculous job at work. That means that can't use the one there. Alright. Oh, that is lush. I like that. Spinning smoothly. Right, let's do the X. Fiddly little things, aren't they, to get in the first place? Low sync, what is the Pandora mod? I've not heard of it before. And yes, the handwheels definitely are a quality of life win. Particularly when you're at this phase when everything's not up and running yet and you need to tweak things without without having them plugged in. Yes, I had some quite sore fingertips as well from turning the lead screws during all of the other build stages. So I'm very much looking forward to these being on. Although I do need to get just a just a regular non-ball end Allen key, because the ball on this set is a little bit worn. Can't quite get in there nice. Do 1 second, I'm going to just check if I've got one up here. No such luck. Right, it's just going to have to be a little bit loose, but as you can see, you know what, I'm just going to put it on backwards for now so I can access them, and then I'll come back in and fix this up the right way around so it looks nice. Right. That shouldn't slip now. Nice. Right. Cool. We've got working X. Get the middle. Working Y. Nice. Right. Time to move on to the electronics table. Okay, so my biggest regret at the build so far was not ordering all of these extrusions pre-tapped. I didn't break anything on this set, but they just always take a lot longer than you want to do that step. Right. Out of the way. Sorry guys. Let's have a look at the manual. Let's see what we have to do here. So, right, very straightforward. We need 2 of these bad boys. Mine appears to be mirrored. My E-stop's on the opposite side. I have an exact mirror of the version that's in the manual. Interesting, but that is fine. I don't mind that. Right, so basically we're bolting through from the end, M5x12s, into 3 of the 80x20s to connect them all together. Should be quite easy. Let's go top down view. It's probably best. I'll lay these out end to end. This is going to be upside down, which means do you have all the other parts ready now, Jake, for your build? Are you just waiting on me to get you the printed parts out? The hot end, replacement hot end arrive. Tell you what, I cannot wait to actually be at the stage where I'm building this, not building this thing, where I'm actually getting to tinker with this thing rather than just building. I've seen so many fun conversations around probing macros and all sorts going on. Is this on camera? What's it like? So guys, I need your advice. I've been given instructions that I need to move off this desk by my wife. She's kindly told me she needs it back to continue her exam revision. Which means I'm in search of a workbench for the garage. And now, having bought the enclosure, it needs to be pretty deep to fit. I think it's about 800 and something, 810 deep. Nah. Oh, Jake, I will send you some rail alignment guides along with the other bits. And hopefully you can start before your printer's up and running. You sent me 2 sets, so I'll add these to your pile of parts right now. Right. Bit long and ungainly, this bit, isn't it? Send cut send. Yeah, definitely send cut send. I think they're actually cheap enough to order one-offs. Here in the UK, we have to order in batch sizes of like 3, as in 3 sets, or 6 total FMJ sides before it became remotely cost effective. Having touched and held this mill, not even machined with it yet though, my gut instinct is to recommend going for it from the start if you can. Save you rebuilding it. It just generally feels so much more stiff and robust, just in terms of lugging it around, than the printed version did. Can't decide which view you can see the best from. I also managed to get cutting fluid all over the hand bits of these Allen keys the other day. Now they are slippy. Very slippy to hold. So Jake, what are your thoughts on me just filling this entire electronics table with sand and epoxy? Do we think that'll add any benefit? It's going to be a big mass on the bottom of the machine. Basically because it's going to be sitting empty on this build because all my electronics are going to be in the enclosure. They're all flat. Do you think it's just going to add a bit of stability? And reduce the overall vibrations a little, because that's sort of what I was thinking. Okay, so now I'm going to repeat what we've just done, but with the backside parts. Anyway, it's safe to say that I won't be loading that up with the granite and epoxy until it finds its new home on whatever new workbench it is. The less times I have to lift something that heavy, the better. It's a bit tight. I actually have quite a good weekend's worth of 3D printering and tinkering ahead of me. So today I've been printing those parts for Jake and doing that little bit of an upgrade on the V0.2. Tomorrow I'm going to be machining a new aluminium bed for the Rat Rig V-Core 3 project we're doing at the Hackspace. And then I'm printing a few parts that I'd forgotten to go with that. And then Sunday I'll be down at the Hackspace itself assembling the V-Core 3, which is always good, although I'm not looking forward to the belt path routing. Hey Tin Man. Mark, how much taller than stock do you think would be reasonable to go on the FMJ? So unless you want to redesign your Z-axis, I would not go higher than 120mm. Um, Having now assembled this and built it, I'm going to be right on the limit for usable height right at the deck. And even with that, I'll only just have enough clearance to get the spindle up above the saddle to completely clear the part and actually make use of the full 120 mil clearance. So unless you're planning on extending your Z axis, I would probably limit it to that. And there's quite a lot of people out in the wild using that height or that length, so you've got a good opportunity to copy and use other people's mods or experience if you go with that height. It always blows my mind how that little pile of flat extrusions can suddenly take up this amount of space. Okay. Let's take a look at what the next step was in the build guide. So, we have attached both ends. It's now time to slide these 40 by 20s through the assembly that we've got so far. And we've already added that heat set insert, and then we're going to bolt on the little blue feet. Cool. You'll certainly get a big advantage over the printed parts doing the FMJ in aluminium. You know, steel is quite a bit stiffer than aluminium is, but we have yet to test how big a difference that is in reality. How much of an improvement that transfers to in reality. So if you've got the material on hand and a way to nicely cut and machine it, then I'd say by all means give it a go. But I wouldn't go out of my way to order aluminium ones if you were ordering from Same Cut Send or somewhere like that. The one exception is, I think, the LDO work kit is probably an aluminium. It's probably an aluminium set. Okay, fair enough. I probably... Well, we'll see. I probably won't. So Jake's essentially saying that he believes that filling the base, so this part that I'm assembling now with epoxy, is likely to benefit me during directional changes. So essentially, where we suddenly change the direction of the mass of the X-Y axis as we're throwing it around, we're going to get a benefit from that, which I'd expect. But without reinforcing or damping the rest of the main structure, we'll still end up with the same chatter we'd have got before. So it'd only be a marginal gain, is essentially what he's saying. Yes, yeah, all the parts Jake printed me have come out really nicely. Like he said on his stream the other day, the only thing is some of the holes for the bolts that go in are quite tight, but they're deliberately designed to be a close fit. And so I have just had to drill some of them out. But everything else has gone together lovely. Time for an Etsy endorsement, Dave. I should do. I should write a thing. I'd have to buy. I think you've got to actually purchase something through Etsy to do a review, don't you? Maybe if Jake offers me a £1 Etsy deal, I'll write a review. I think because otherwise you're not like a what's it called, like a verified. Oh man, this thing's bigger than my camera view. Let's try wide angle. Yeah, that'll do. Jake, I don't know if you were here when I was saying it. I think I'm going to be ditching these nice blue parts that you bought made for me. I'm enjoying the stealth all black version too much. Yorkshire on the international shipping list, I'm afraid. So I can't remember. I don't think the one I borrowed off you had any actual feet on the on here, did it, Jake? I think you just the one you gave me was just these little wings when I borrowed it. Can we get? Whoa, my GoPro is falling through the gap. There we go. And yeah, with regards to moving parts, I don't think I would ever want to fill them with epoxy. He says, I can see some benefits if it was going to give you significant structural improvement, but it would limit your top speed quite a lot. No, I didn't have a printer that could print TPU. If you don't need the feet, I don't see a point in installing. Yeah, fair play. I haven't decided quite yet how I'm going to attach this to the floor or workbench in my build. So I'm going to put them on anyway, just because it will give it a little bit of stability out to the sides. So you can buy the anti-vibration feet, which I'd say is probably your best option. It's probably going to outperform anything you can 3D print. Yeah, we use the same thing. They're called what are they called? I think they're just called anti-vibration mounts. And we use them with a pneumatic hammer on the end of a robot at work. And that took us from forces that caused the robot encoders to break to the robot never complaining. Why is there a gap in the... Oh, you are very correct, Jake. Why is there a gap in the front one? I couldn't see it. Ah. Because I've not installed it correctly, put it simply. Take two. Must have slipped out at some point when I was shuffling things around. Thank you for watching that for me, Jake. So Mark printed the feet and TPU, and they do seem to work fine for damping some of the noise. But we probably shouldn't have bolting them up to the table. So I think my plan is probably going to be bolting to the table. I'm looking to try and find a some sort of waterproof, watertight tray to bolt onto or through. I am hoping to one day be able to do proper coolant alongside this, so I'm trying to provision for it at every step where I can along the way. Even if I'm quite a way off actually going for the coolant. And it's worth noting that when I start the electronics, I actually need to pick connectors for my stepper motors that are well, I want to pick ones that are waterproof because they're going to get a bunch sent on it. Weld a bunch of baking trays together and you'll be reet. That is the most Yorkshire thing anyone's ever said. It's the same rule was used for sledding in Yorkshire, isn't it? Just use a baking tray. What I was thinking though was just getting some, like 1 mil thick steel or something, because you only have to make 4 cuts in the corners with an angle grinder and then admittedly weld it together. But can't be that hard. I've got a friend with a welder. He's not an expert in any way, so it probably won't be pretty, but hopefully it would be watertight. I guess I'd want to do stainless, wouldn't I? Try and avoid any rust issues. But that being said, there must be a way to get a semi-custom tray to go at the bottom of the enclosure. Right. Okay, so I don't have the feet going here yet. So it should be time to attach Milo, I'd guess. Yep, got on the feet. Boom. Okay. And there are 1, 2, I think there's 6 of these little guys, isn't there? For attaching. Oh no. Yeah, 6. 1 at the front, 1 at the back, 1 roughly in the middle. Cool. Okay. Do we have anyone on the dev team that is a dab hand at welding? Because it'd be mighty useful. Mighty interesting anyway to see some welded solutions. Just moving that that plate that I've been working on out of the way, so I can drop this in place, and the GoPro has gone for a walk again. You can MIG weld. Where did you learn to MIG weld, Jake? Learning any sort of welding has been on my list of things I want to get around to doing. But haven't managed to yet. YouTube. Fair play. So this just needs to be lined up with the middle extrusion. For now I've just aligned it with the wheel at the front. Should it be lined up? I think that's how it is in the manual. Money shot right there. Apologies. This bad boy is so big that you just don't know how to handle it. The little 2020 brackets are quite tight under the FMJ. It is looking quite serious now, isn't it? It's mad. I spent so long just doing this bit, and then everything else has just come together like really quickly, which is cool. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to go all black stealth. Like, it's just got to be done now, doesn't it? With the black rails and everything. Okay, so it was M5x12s, wasn't it? Let's just double check the manual. M5x12s, yeah. Right, let's get those out. Okay. And as is a bit of a theme for my build, these are not going to be Loctited yet because A, I know I'm going to have to move all of this from here. I'm going to have to put it into the enclosure. I'm expected to have to take it apart again pretty soon before putting it back together. Not entirely, but in sections. So it is what it is. They will come loose and I will have to deal with it. Right. I don't think my top-down view is going to help us much, so it's going to have to be the GoPro. Let's get the inserts out. Does anyone else get a little bit OCD about all of their inserts facing the same direction? Was that just me? I don't know. Yeah, it's not so bad here, but the doing all of them in the FMJ, I was like, oh man, yeah, I'd love some LDO hand wheels. I mean, these are pretty nice. They feel pretty nice, but yeah. LDO sends me some, I'll install them. The manual says M5x12, but that is very loose. Why doesn't that feel right? Ah, is it M5x8? I'm not going mad. Let me just check with this one. I think it might be though. Yeah, it definitely is M5x8. Well, I'm in the live dock now, Jake. Shall I just change it? Can I? No, I don't think I can. I don't think I'm in the right Google account to change the dock. Nah, I can't. I don't have right permissions in this one. Sorry, I would have updated it otherwise. I think I've got the M5x8 somewhere over here. There they are. Yeah, M5x8 is the one. That's much. Going in nicely now. I'm just going to put them in loosely to start with. Yeah, I know, Mark. I'll show you this. There's one thing that's been bothering me on the FMJs, and it's so stupid. All my wires stretch. Yeah, so this. I picked a direction, and it was wrong. Look at the little bit showing. Every other one sits nicely, but if I had it the other way around, it stuck out the bottom. So, you know, the FMJs are pretty near perfect, but that one little thing. Madness. Right. You are right in the way. Jake, did you notice any improvement by adding extra ones of these along here rather than just the 6? Or did it make no difference? Because I'm just gonna guess. No, I'm not gonna guess halfway. Do it scientifically. 58. So we want 29. There. This is the wrong side. Got a lot of winding to do to get it back to being out the way. I only ever tested 6. I thought more was just overkill. I think you're probably right. I didn't ever see any flexing between the two. So, yeah. Oh, my arm looks wacky. I'm just this close to a wide angle lens. Top down doesn't help. Right. Yeah, from there. Cool. So one thing that I've started thinking about again is how are we gonna get some sort of way covers for these, because it was infuriating cleaning it out quite as much as I had to do, and even then without taking it apart it was near impossible to get all the bits out. So unfortunately I don't really know of a good solution. I suspect the only solutions I'm going to find might have an impact on the y-axis travel slightly. Okay, I'll put it right at the back. I don't know if you want to come in close. I mean, you've all probably seen T-nuts going in, but let's bring you up close. Just to see where I'm putting it. So I'm going to drop this as far back here as I can, because I don't have the line joints in there. This is going to be where most of the force comes down, so... Dockers update. Hey! Happy now, Dave. All hail the triangles. Not sure if Jake planned for you to see. Oh, my face is covering it. Where's it gone? I can't zoom out to see it. My face is in the way. Jake has kindly left us a message in the updated document. um, all hail the triangles. Right. Thank you, Jake. I should have made better notes actually, because there's a few places in the manual where, even though it's correct, there's a few little things that would just help. I need to read back through it from start to finish and just add those notes in. There was just little things like if we can specify the length of the extrusion in one of the places, or the number of bolts, etc. that you were going to put in. It has got us here as the main thing. You're welcome. Nice. Right. Now the fun of spinning the whole thing around. Apologies for the moving camera. Hopefully no one gets motion sickness. It's only getting harder to move. Have you worked out what the weight of one of these is with the FMJ mod and the 2.2 kilowatt spindle on it yet? It's not going to be insubstantial, that's for sure. What time are we at? 7. Cool, we have made very good progress today. Right, has anyone got any good recommendations for some waterproof, small and cheap connectors for the motors and end stops? And in addition, I have spotted some waterproof micro switches, which I will not be using now, but I'm sort of eyeing up for future. My before FMJ and the Super Secret Dev only thing was nearly 40 kilos. Yeah, I'm not very good at the Super Secret Dev only things, seemingly. 40 kilos isn't too bad, is it? Save me going to the gym if I have to move it around too many more times. That's with your 1.5 kilowatt spindle as well, isn't it? So I think there's an extra, what, 1.5 kilos to add on for the 2.2 version. Can't remember which one of these holes I lined it up with. That one. Add 5 kilos FMJ. It's 2.2 kilowatt spindle and bigger motors. I reckon it probably is. Probably is nearly 50. Mine won't have any of the electronics in it, to be fair, but they probably don't add up to much more than 1 kilo on their own, so I don't think that's going to have made too much of a difference. I hope you're looking forward to transporting it down to that festival. On the back of your moped, right? Your motorbike, yeah? I was thinking about that. I'm not even sure the fully assembled frame will fit in the back of my van. Possibly on the bed? I think the frame might have to live on the bed in the van if I'm going to transport them in there. Hopefully the trade show's not inside the expensive London zone. Let's see. Have we found anyone else that's going from the UK yet? Is it just me, you and Ed still? Finalizing. Milo, well, it's actually Kata that will be in the bed, Tin Man. Milo has been relegated to the floor because him and Kata had an argument. Basically, I don't think Kata will fit in the gap in my camper van, which is my only vehicle I've got big enough, I think, to transport Kata assembled. So basically the only way I'm going to be able to transport Kata once it's assembled is, yeah, putting it on the bed, I think, in the van. I do need to take it down to the hack space, so Sheffield Hack Space, where I'm building the VCOR 3 printer. I've been following progress on this pretty keenly. They've got a terrible little mill that's not really used because it's a bit rubbish. And they're considering one of these once I take it down for a demo. So. Sleep-in Kata to save on hotels. Well, if it's waterproof, watertight. Right. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe we have... Oh god, you're heavy. The mechanical portion of this build done. I don't even know what angle that's coming from. Oh, sweet. That's going to be a heavy bag. Good luck with that. I suppose I can probably collect you if I'm in the van anyway. Right. So, I'm already wishing I had a little Twizzler, a little turn handle for the top. So, we have the mechanical build done. Obviously I've still got to attach things like the end stops. I've not trammed anything. But it's looking like a mill now. Sick. Obviously I've not got the end stop in there or anything either. But good progress. Good progress. And the more I look at it, the more I'm tempted not to cover up this spindle. Like, it's really growing on me, just sort of the industrial look of it being exposed. So it's possible I might just add a little bracket for the cable chain. but we'll see. It would be quite easy to cover it. I've already got the design. But that would be a lot of black, and it's contributing to a big portion of the silver, that spindle. Right. Okay. I'm here, Milo. Might even get you in. Hey. Cool. So, guys, I think I'm going to leave it here. I am ahead of schedule, but things are built. There's not a lot else I can do here before I start doing the wiring. And I've got a few things to think about on the wiring front. Before I do that, I've got to pick some nice connectors for the motors and the end stops. Like I said, bearing in mind that I want to try and protect them as much as possible from any future coolant, etc. that I'm using. The E-stop will be tucked away in here, so it should be reasonably safe, but I may look at potting the back of the E-stop, because the one I've got is just totally exposed. But it would be pretty easy to print a small box around this and add some epoxy potting compound once it's been wired, just to hold it all and seal it all in, and then we should be pretty good to go. On that note, I went for the dual pole one. Two reasons for that. One, my plan is not to switch off the entire system, including control board, when I cut the power. What I want to do is cut power to the spindle to remove that risk, and then to run the other line to one of the IOs on the board to use the sort of RRF built-in sort of emergency stop signal utilization method. And the reason for that is every time you otherwise at the E-stop, you lose your position, you lose where you are, and it's quite hard to debug when you're working on sort of macros and so on. I found that every time something went wrong, I hit the E-stop and then it all died, and I couldn't see where it got to all my debug messages. So that's my plan for that. I'm just trying to think what other electronics there will be on here that I need to think about from a sort of waterproofing perspective. There will be a USB-C connection to my touch probe. Well, now's a good time to get those things out. So I do have a number of goodies that have arrived over the last little while in anticipation for starting to set things up. Got a little tiny indicator, just an analog one there. That one was the size I expected it to be. I've got a touch probe, which I'm super excited to see in action. It is teeny tiny, but this is the one where I will have a USB-C connection going into it. Essentially, that means, well, the other end of this isn't a USB, it is literally just like a switch inside here, but they've used a USB-C connector. Not a lot I can really do on this end, but it does mean I'll probably have to have like a dangling cable somewhere, and possibly I'll clip it out of the way on the side of the enclosure, or I'll clip it out of the way somewhere up here when it's not connected to the probe, and that'll just keep it out of the way. But that should be good. And yes, Tin Man, that should help keep your WCS, but if you've hit the E-stop, it does kill your stepper motor power, or it should do anyway, which means that actually you probably don't want to trust your WCS, but at least you'll be in the right ballpark when you go back to reset it, rather than having to go back completely to 0. Possibly. Got a little magnetic stand to hold the dial indicators. Should be pretty useful on the old FMJ, which is quite nice because that was something that was missing on regular Milo, was that everything was aluminium, so there wasn't anywhere to actually mount little things like this. But a lot of the time you'll want it mounted on your bed or the spindle head, so how much value that adds I don't know. But yeah, these are just all my other little goodies that I've got. And then I've got 2 dial indicators that turned out to be a lot bigger than I thought they were going to be. I don't know how useful these are going to be. They are huge. Yeah, don't know. Awfully big. They do feel nice. So we'll see. We'll see how useful these ones turn out to be. My plan for these was actually to have the tramming, so I'll have a bar that sticks out a reasonable distance. It needs to clear here, which is why this is not the most useful size because it's so big. But with one of these on each end, you should be able to do your tramming more accurately and easier. So that was sort of the plan, but then they turned out to be so huge that that could be problematic. Might need to get some smaller ones. Trying to think what other goodies or things I have to show. I don't think I've got anything else exciting. Well, that's not entirely true. I've got a whole bag of Casa accessories that I will be building. This extrusion, Jake, you added this in for extra stiffness, but it's not in the manual. We decided that this isn't needed. I seem to remember that being the description, that this was surplus to requirements and that it didn't add much value and just got in the way. So well, I've not used it. In the electronics manual. Okay. I have the same LED bars that Tin Man used in his enclosure. Ugh, if I can open them. They're going to come out as one big hole. Can't get them out of the box. Stuck. Yeah, hopefully these will keep the enclosure nice and light. I've been putting out some quotes to try and get the panels ordered in. I need to think about them a little bit more. Because I think I want mine to be laser cuttable, but they're so big that the only one that will be practically laser cuttable is the ones in the electronics bay. Got some of my cabling for the high voltage stuff, high current stuff. E-stops. I bought my T-nuts for Casa before Tin Man updated his bomb. $200 of them. That's how many I've got, Tin Man. I think we can both agree that this is an excessive number. Jake, you're jealous of ER20? Yeah, me too. That was one of the reasons for going for the 2.2 kilowatt spindle. I didn't actually think I needed more power. So, but I did fancy the bigger ER20 collet. What I do need to order actually is a collet set. So I got 3 sizes with the spindle, but I need to order the rest of them. What else is in here? Oh, I've got some more of the corner brackets and just various other Casa building parts. Oh yeah, that's the door extrusion ceiling. I think you probably had too big a length of this in the requirements as well. There's a lot of it. What other random bits? Oh, I've got some nice handles. That I'm quite pleased with these ones. Got them straight from Ooze Nest. They're going to look the part. I figured I would just buy them. They were so cheap versus trying to print my own. I thought, why not? For like £1 something each or £2 each. Yes, I think I'll be trying to bolt my enclosure down onto the bench top, most likely, to prevent that. But I think I would still put the seal around the bottom. I think it will be helpful. Yeah, one of the corner brackets. So I think the next stream that I do will be adding the rest of the electronics onto Milo as it is, and just routing them out the back and off the side with a decent length of tail on, so they can all go to the enclosure when it's done. And once that set of wiring and cable change and bits and bobs are on, then I will have to be starting the Casa enclosure build. So in the meantime, I'm going to be doing some purchasing, ordering some panels predominantly, panels and some connectors, and most importantly, I'm going to be moving desks. So I'll be looking for a workbench for the garage, which is good because I don't want to build that enclosure. It's wider than any of the doors in my house, so once it's built, it isn't moving anywhere. So it's probably best that I do get that workbench set up anyway, so that it can all be done in situ. So yeah, I think I'm probably going to call it a day then. I'll be on Discord for chatting and stuff as normal, but I think that's it. I want to add workable work tables to the Millennium Catalogue, but that's a story for another time. Yes, I've seen some of your ideas, Jake, and I like them. I do like it. My only concern with extrusion-based tables is they do end up costing quite a lot, and you can buy very strong steel ones for the same price, but then they're not necessarily entirely fit for purpose and they're quite hard to mod, so you can see the benefits of an extrusion-based custom one. I'm also just looking at this table and wondering if I can just get it slightly flatter on this edge extrusion. Right. I use U-line packing tables. You guys have U-line. I don't know, Tin Man. I will have a look after the stream to see if we do. The depth of that enclosure is the biggest restriction on the workbench. Thankfully the space I've got should be fine for it, but I just need the bench to go there. I think that's everything. Yep. Right guys, so I'm going to call it here. Thank you for watching. Thank you Jake for putting Milo together. I'm super excited now to get the electronics on it and get it running. And until next time, for a little bit of crimping and wiring. See you guys.